What if the greatest treasures in history were never actually found? We've all heard the legends. Captain Kidd's buried gold, El Dorado's shimmering cities. But what if those ancient maps, those tantalizing clues, were pointing us in the wrong direction all along? Today, we decode the mysteries of ancient cartography and uncover the truth behind the treasures that never were. Throughout history, maps have been more than just guides. They have been promises. Promises of riches, of power, of worlds beyond imagination. From faded parchments inked by explorers to tattered pirate charts handed down in whispers, maps have often been seen as gateways to fortune. But behind these legends lies a truth we rarely admit. Most of the treasures they pointed to never existed. Take the legend of El Dorado. For centuries, explorers scoured South America in search of a golden city, a kingdom glittering with unimaginable wealth. Maps circulated in Europe, each claiming to reveal its location. Expeditions marched into jungles, climbed mountains, and sailed rivers. Thousands of lives were lost. Yet El Dorado was never found. Why? Because the maps weren't maps of reality. They were maps of myth, reflections of human desire, not geography. And then there's the tale of Captain Kidd's treasure. The notorious pirate was said to have buried vast riches across islands and coastlines, his maps marked with cryptic symbols and an X that promised fortune. But search after search turned up little more than sand. Historians now believe those maps were often fabrications, created to stir fear, mislead rivals, or in some cases simply entertain. The treasure, if it ever existed, was likely far smaller than legend suggests. But why were these maps created at all? In many cases, maps served as tools of persuasion. Kings and queens funded expeditions based on what explorers drew. A dotted line or a sketched mountain could mean the difference between financial backing and rejection. Some maps were intentionally exaggerated, designed to lure investors with promises of land, resources, or treasure. In other words, maps didn't just reflect geography, they shaped human ambition. Consider the mysterious Vinland maps, supposedly proving that Vikings reached North America long before Columbus. For decades, scholars debated their authenticity until many concluded they were clever forgeries. These false maps fueled myths of discovery, but not truth. Similarly, maps of Atlantis, drawn long after Plato's tale, inspired countless quests for a sunken utopia. Yet, time and again, explorers returned empty-handed. This doesn't mean maps were meaningless. On the contrary, they reveal something profound about us. The maps of treasures that never were show how deeply humans crave wonder. They reflect our hunger for wealth, for discovery, for stories bigger than ourselves. Even when false, they guided ships into uncharted waters, pushing the boundaries of exploration. Sometimes, the treasure wasn't gold at the end of a trail, but the discovery of new lands along the way. And here's the paradox. Even when maps lied, they inspired truth. Expeditions searching for El Dorado helped chart rivers of South America. Pirate legends sparked real cartography of islands and seas. Myths of Atlantis fueled ocean exploration. The fake treasures may not have been real, but the journeys they inspired shaped history. But perhaps the greatest mystery lies in why we continue to believe. Even today, treasure hunters scan old maps, convinced riches are buried just beyond reach. Maybe it's because treasure maps aren't really about gold. They're about hope, the possibility that somewhere out there lies a secret waiting to be uncovered. So, were these treasures ever real? In most cases, probably not. But their power doesn't come from coins or jewels. It comes from the stories, from the way a sketch on parchment can send people across oceans, chasing dreams. The next time you see an ancient map marked with an X, ask yourself, is it pointing to gold or is it pointing to something far more valuable? Our endless human desire to seek to imagine and to explore? And that is the enduring allure of ancient maps. They may not have led to treasures of gold, but they reveal the greatest treasure of all, the imagination of humankind. If you enjoyed this journey through history's myths and maps, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And tell us in the comments, which legendary treasure would you most want to hunt for?